Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning to all. What I think is irresponsible is for the state to have policies that it doesn't take responsibility for. We have policies that preclude many, many, many people from being able to find housing. And we act as if that's just the way it's supposed to be. We have no responsibility for the outcome of those policies. We have pieces of law that have sat for a long time that we revisit. We never are finished with any of this stuff. For anyone to think that simply because we got to an arbitrary date, which is what all these dates that we have in front of us are, that we necessarily must be finished by that point doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because even after we pass it, at some point we probably will revisit it. The question on the table is whether or not people will be able to find housing. And the concerns that are raised by many of the people who are concerned with this bill and some of the others are legitimate. And the bill deals with the issue of liability. But what the state has not dealt with is the issue of precluding people from being able to find housing because they have a criminal record, which, by the way, we as a legislature have come to understand, because we learned things, have come to understand doesn't mean what we thought it meant. And yet we still do the same things that we've always been doing, because it's, and this is not to put words in anyone's mouth and not to suggest anything in terms of intention, but largely because it's easier to keep doing what we've been doing than to talk about what we learned in the halls of the state capitol and the offices in the legislative office building. We have learned for many years now that criminal record doesn't tell you what you think it does, especially as you get further and further away from the offense. And as I suggested the other day in the hearing, there are many people who read these records and don't know how to read them. And so there's things on the record that you read into the record that don't, even if it meant what you thought it meant, have the meaning that you think it means. We have bills on the agenda about housing and protections for people to be able to get defense in the court of law. This, if we leave it as it is, it's just another reason why we have bills like that. Because in the last 2 decades, it's been harder and harder to get housing. From 2001 to 2015, the supply of affordable housing in this country has not kept up with the number of families that need to rent. And the monies that these families are making hasn't kept up with the price of housing. And you add on top of that, that already has a disproportionate impact on certain parts of our population. This has a disproportionate impact on certain parts of our population. And we talk about the moral fact. There's a moral question there, and this legislature has a responsibility to answer that question. So absolutely, even if this bill does not get finished, we have a responsibility today to vote it forward. Thank you.